part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
That sound means it's time for Cavs on the Break NBA podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network. I'm your host, Chase Smith, and with me, he's the NBA writer for hoopswire.com. You started hoopswire.com. Why is you just a writer on here? We got to get that fixed, Sam. He's our Cavs insider, national NBA writer, Sam Amico. Sam, dude, what's up, man?
Not much. I did start Hoopswire, and I'm glad that it's still alive. And I'm very glad that the podcast is still alive and you still have me on. So,
oh well,
it's only degrees of winning around here.
I don't know what it is. You're
right.
You're trying to butter me up for something, man. This is the second straight episode where you're just like singing my praises, and I don't know how it makes me feel.
After years of torture, I kind of felt like, I got to start taking it easy.
This is weird. Also with us, the man, the myth, the legend, my longtime friends. Can I say long time at this point, Jeremy?
Absolutely.
Longtime friends, Jeremy and Akron. John Sable is on assignment in Atlanta, couldn't join us. Shouts to Zach for checking this pod out. I want to read this text that I got from Sam Amico, and that's going to lead us into the first part of the show. I said, fellas, are we recording? And Sam said this: may as well, while they're the best team in the NBA. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the segment Overreaction or On Point with Sam Amico and Jeremy and Akron.
Let's go.
Cavs are the best team in the NBA. Overreaction or On Point. We're jumping right into it.
Yeah. Well, I think Chase sent me a text that said, can we record the podcast tomorrow? And he sent it to all of us in the group. And I said, well, we might as well, since the Cavs are the best team in the NBA, knock one out. But I knew that would result in being particularly fired up, because I'm not usually one for hyperbole. What's the word? I'm not usually one for hype.
Hyperbole.
Yeah, I can spell it. I just don't know how to say a lot of things.
Jeremy, the Cavs are 5-1, a 5-game winning streak. They swept the rest of the week 2 slate we talked about. The Magic, the Celtics, the Knicks. They defeated Boston in overtime. Mitchell and LeVert joining elite company. Everything is going right for the Cavs, and we don't have Darius Garland. Jeremy, are they the best team in the NBA?
They're top 3, and even according to NBA.com right now, they're third in the NBA.com power rankings. Yeah, I think so. You know what's amazing about the win at Boston is Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum at 32 each. So their stars played well as well. But our stars, minus one of our stars, outplayed their stars at their home court. It's incredible. Donovan Mitchell's playing out of his mind. I don't know if you saw Bill Simmons tweet the other day, said this is the best ball Donovan Mitchell's played in his career, and he looks like the best player on a championship team right now. That's big. That's a big statement. So
I have that
just
tweet framed
incredible.
on my fridge. It was hitting every talking point there.
Yeah.
I have a couple of things here I want to hit on. Sam, the Cavs are on an incredible run.
Yeah,
and,
go ahead. Sorry.
Just to do this without Garland, the win in Boston was one of the more impressive regular season wins in a while. I'm thinking back to whenever they beat the Nets, and Sexton kind of went off, but just one of the most impressive regular season wins I remember the Cavs having.
Yeah, when you factor in the fact that they built an early lead in Boston, then got down a lot. I think that most people probably wrote them off at that point and said, well, it's the Celtics defending Eastern Conference champs on their home floor, just not going to get back in it. So, yeah, the fact that they came back, got that game to overtime, won in overtime. Donovan Mitchell, obviously fantastic. Karis LeVert was fantastic. But, the interesting to me was a couple nights later, they played the Knicks at home, didn't play a great game. LeVert was not very,
he was awful
after his 41-point effort. With
whatever the opposite of a star is, that's what he was like.
Right. Yes.
And I thought he was decent. He was decent as a facilitator, though. He wasn't like
he did a nice job, just couldn't hit a shot. Yeah. Right. So, But more than that, I think that win too, the Knicks win, was equally impressive later in the game because they had guys like Love and Wade step up, and it really showed that they really aren't, a one-man team. They have a lot of depth, and they have a lot of guys who can hurt you in different ways.
Oh, we'll talk about all that. Go ahead, Jay.
Let me comment. You stole my thunder there, Sam. I was going to say that I think following it up the Celtics game with that Knicks game was just as impressive. They outscored the Knicks 37-15 in the fourth quarter. It was the biggest margin of victory in a quarter for the Cavs since 2005. You had the Cavs set a modern NBA record with 24 three-pointers from three teammates. Donovan Mitchell had 8 threes. Love had 8 threes. Dean Wade had 6 threes. That was an NBA record for a threesome of players number of three-pointers made in a game. It was an NBA record. Dean Wade, who I predicted to be a breakout player this year, is looking to be just that. He's exactly what they need, a consistent three-point shooter. And he's just going to get better and better.
You're stealing my overreaction or on points. You're stealing all my hits.
And let me hit one more thing. I talked a little about Bill Simmons. Let me name drop again. Rob Perez, Worldwide Wob, one of my favorite follows. He's a Knicks fan, and he did a little video breakdown of the game. And he said the thing that is crazy to him was the Knicks played really well. He thought the Knicks played well enough to win on the road, and they still lost by double digits because it was raining threes. You got a mini avalanche. You got the whole thing going on. And so now you're beating good teams in games where the good teams played really well back to back. Jalen Brunson, arguably one of the biggest surprises in the league so far. Not a surprise to me because I love him, but you beat them 2 back to back, and now you get the Celtics in here tomorrow. Probably going to have Darius Garland back. It's going to be very interesting to see.
Overreaction or on point? Donovan Mitchell is the best shooting guard in Cavs history.
You asking
Go ahead.
me?
Sorry, Sam.
I would say probably overreaction because he's played 6 games. But
that's the beauty of the segment, though. Overreaction or on point? Because I got an answer for this question. Let me tell you.
Okay, I will say he very well could be if he's sustained what he's been doing. Chase is shaking his head because I'm trying to offer some perspective.
It's not could be overreaction or on point. It's overreaction or on point.
Okay, overreaction. He is not the best shooting guard in Cavs history yet.
Jeremy?
But very well maybe.
Yeah, let's see. Who do we have ahead of him right now, Sam? Austin Carr, World Be Free,
World Be Free.
Mitchell,
yeah, I forgot about him. Ron Harper.
Mitchell. I think he might Ron Harper for a couple of years, but like you said, it's very possible that at the end of this, 5-year run, whatever it ends up being with him, he could be the best 2 guard in Cavs history. I think right now, overreaction. Could it be on point shortly? Yeah, it could be.
Still not quite understand the concept of this game, Jeremy. It's overreaction.
Okay,
overreaction.
Overreaction.
I'm going to say on point. Are you kidding me?
I knew you would. How did we know you would?
Are you kidding me? He is doing everything that the Cavs need him to and more. He's hitting big shots. He's making the right extra pass. He's playing excellent defense. He is shooting out of his mind.
Yeah, he is. All that is correct. And you know what else he has, Chase? He has that air of confidence that the superstars have. You know what I mean? Like some guys just have this like aura about them, and Donovan has that. He's got that
media day.
He's got that superstar aura. It's something, man. I'm telling you what. I mean, I don't think we can slow this train down. This train is going down the tracks.
I scoffed, Jay, when you mentioned that you compared him to Dwayne Wade last episode. And my God, he has done the best Dwayne Wade performance I have seen since Dwayne Wade's been on a basketball court. It has been incredible. He there was a play against the Knicks where he like spun, dribbled, and then just like dunked, and it was very Dwayne Wade-esque. It looked like a play that he made. Yeah,
because Dwayne Wade always looked so under control. That's the same with Donovan Mitchell. He looks so under control, and he's still moving fast, but he's got complete body control, and it's incredible to watch.
Sam, one of the things I loved about well, not only dropping 40 in Boston, which is awesome, but he had a killer look to him against the Knicks in that game. Like, it looked personal to him. And I love that, like, killer instinct that he showed. That, I mean, I got chills. It was just incredible. He's the best shooting guard I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to go there. But to wear a Cleveland uniform, he's the best shooting guard I've ever seen wear a Cleveland uniform.
Yeah, I can see that. I think he's better than Larry Hughes, but
yeah, you think he's better than Larry Hughes?
Larry, if you're listening, we love you. Come on the pod.
Yeah, Larry's great, but yeah, Donovan's got you beat. I think he would admit that too. I really think that JB staff said it after the game. He was just the guy who wasn't going to allow us to lose, and the Cavs had that a little bit last season, but he really takes it up a notch when it comes to that. Like, you know what, we're not losing this game. And to have him on the floor and on the team and in the locker room, that kind of mindset of a guy who, we always talk about how we talked about this last week, how Darius Garland and Evan Mobley and Jared Allen and those guys didn't get a taste of the playoffs. Well, here's a guy who has been through the battles. And Jeremy said this over the summer. He tends to get better during the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I think that just the way he's leading by bringing that mentality has been a boost that probably not even the Cavs expected when they traded for him.
One of the things that's been abundantly clear to me over this stretch of games, a week 2 slate, is this is Donovan Mitchell's team. And whenever we're down 2, Donovan Mitchell's taking that shot. And when things are going to go bad, Donovan Mitchell's going to get us out of a bad slump. For better or worse, having Garland's injury, I think, made that clear to everyone. Maybe the team already knew, but now everyone knows that, Donovan Mitchell is option 1A. And I don't think there's really an argument to be made for anyone else.
I think you're probably right. It's funny. One thing I was going to bring up tonight, with Garland probably playing tomorrow, I just wonder if we're going to take maybe one step back to take 2 steps forward, because I think there is going to be some figuring out of what you just said, the roles, because you're right. Garland was the go-to guy during this stretch of games Mitchell was the go-to guy during this stretch of games with Garland out. And I think Garland is a selfless player. So I think he'll be able to slide in and play a role, hit the Robin to Donovan's Batman.
I think it's perfect.
It is, but it might take a little bit of time to fill that out. It might not look as good tomorrow, I'm saying, as it looked the last 3 games. I might be wrong.
I think we
might win by 30. But I think there's a chance, though, they could take a small step back to figure it out.
I think it would have taken them longer to figure out if they both were playing. I think there would have been some times where Garland felt like he maybe had to. From what I saw Garland, how he played last year, I felt like almost was forced to take shots he didn't want to take or to try to do more. I mean, watching him against the Hawks, he was just needing, missing that piece. I think he's more of a natural, like, facilitator. He's not in the mold of a Steph Curry point guard. When we talked about this in the offseason, and I think him getting whacked in the face and having this eye thing might have been the best thing that could have happened to this team, is to having them figure some of these answers out just like this.
Right.
All of those turnovers or whatever, it's just, I think Garland is just going to thrive. He might not have the production the jump that we're looking, but I think he's just going to thrive. And I think that's,
and well, one thing,
am I way off here?
All right, Chase, let me say this, though, real quick before we move on. we are going to have to cut down on Mitchell's minutes a little bit. I think he's leading the NBA in minutes right now. I think he's playing 39.5 minutes a game or something. That's way too many. So I think you are going to see long stretches of Garland on the court without Mitchell, Mitchell on the court without Garland. Then in the fourth quarter, obviously you're going to have your best go, and hopefully those two mesh really well. So that is one small concerning thing to the beginning of the season is Mitchell's playing a crap ton of minutes, and I think you will see that change probably starting tomorrow.
Yeah, I think for sure that is a situation where, if you get Garland back, you're going to have to start cutting back on Mitchell's minutes just to preserve him for, the most important part of the year. So, either, when Garland comes back, you have that option, you have that opportunity. We heard JB Bickerstaff talk about that before the season, about how this does take pressure off the other guy. And you would think when Garland and Mitchell are on the floor together, that they'll be able to take some pressure off the other one and make each other's job easier. Presumably that's going to be the situation. So if Mitchell is playing 37 minutes, it's not going to be the same 37 minutes that he's playing now, because he'll have presumably some help and vice versa with Garland and Mitchell. So, I think, there could be a little bit of an adjustment period for anytime you put two all-stars together that both play the same position, basically. I mean, they're both, handle the ball a lot and play, not the same style, but both guards and smaller guards. There could be a little bit of an adjustment. I'm sure that Cavs fans wouldn't freak out at all if there were, because, we're all so grounded, right? But I wouldn't be it really seriously wouldn't be a big surprise if maybe they just aren't super cohesive right off the bat.
Well, I'm glad you both agree with me that he's the greatest shooting guard of all time. Thanks for agreeing with me in that statement. Hey, another thing we found, overreaction or on point. Dean Wade should start at the 3. Jeremy, overreaction or on point. Dean Wade should start at the 3.
On point. I agree. I think he should. I think Harris should come off the bench. I think once Garland's back, that Dean Wade should stay in the starting lineup.
Wow, Sam, overreaction or on point. Dean Wade at the 3, he should start?
No, I think he should come off the bench as well. And done a fantastic job, but I think, LeVert has the capability of going for 40. This wasn't the first time we've seen it. He did it a few times with the Pacers last season. His final game with the Pacers, I think he had 42. So
against the Lakers.
It was against the Lakers.
It was.
So, the overreaction is Dean Wade starting at the 3. I could see a point in the season where that happens, just depending on, maybe they want to mix things up and back with having those 3, near starting lineup, and then you have a guy in Wade who's very Kevin Love-like in his ability to stretch the floor. But I just think that LeVert has a chance to win right now by starting.
Overreaction or on point. Again, we're 6 games in, and this is based off of some trends here. The Cavs have one of the worst second units in the league. Overreaction or on point, Sam?
One of the worst?
Yes.
Action. I like their second unit. I like Kevin Love. I think Chetty is very well, with the exception of the game. He didn't play that great. But I I'd be okay. And you remember when Garland comes back, that's going to move presumably Wade back to the bench, who played well. I think Robin Lopez has done a very nice job in the time that he's given. He's had a few games where he didn't play at all, but the time that he plays, I think he's made a major contribution. I have some good depth. There's nothing flashy about it, but I think that they are, they have veterans, and then let's not forget Rubio is going to be back too at some point. So I think all of those guys are, and Raul Neto's,
yes,
he struggled that first game against Toronto, but other than that, I think he's been solid.
And this overreaction, Jeremy, comes from seemed like they couldn't hold a lead against the Knicks, right? And so is it just a matter of just abiding time until these players come back? Obviously, it's an overreaction. Obviously, they don't have the worst second unit. But, I mean, blowing leads against Boston and the Knicks, they got to be able to hold serve.
I think if you watch that Knicks game in the second half, especially, JB was actually tinkering with a bunch of different lineups. So, I mean, even at the end of the game, Okoro was in at the end of the game. We bashed on Okoro a lot, but he was locking down Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson had his way for 3.5 quarters, and they put Okoro on him, and he turned, what they say, turned his water off, right? So, I think, even with Okoro not doing much offensively, he had a good game there. Like I was going to bring up Neto before, of course, Sam Miko got to him because Sam's brilliant like me. Neto has been great, especially on the ball defense. He really pesters guys. He plays a really hard defense. He can hit an open shot, and he can facilitate just enough to get those guys a break. And like Sam said, when Rubio comes back, I think they will actually it'll be a strength of the team, the second unit. Seti Osman is what Seti is. Seti will shoot you into a game or shoot you out of a game. The other night it was bad Seti where he was shooting you out of the game. But that's just the kind of player he is, and that's just what he's going to be. He's a streaky scorer. And sometimes when you're down 20, you'll throw him in to inject some energy. And the next thing you know, you look at the scoreboard and you're down 6, but it can go the other way with him as well. So, no, I actually agree with Sam. I like their second unit, so I'll say it's an overreaction.
All right, last one here. Overreaction or on point? LeBron will be traded to the Cavs this season.
That's not happening, so I'm assuming that's an overreaction.
Okay.
He's unless it's to sign a one day. I wouldn't want to mess with success. I just wouldn't want to do that. Brown had a fantastic, obviously, career. This is not going the way he wanted with the Lakers, but I think if he really, really, really was that bothered by it, he wouldn't have signed an extension with them. And I personally, I don't know this for a fact. My theory, based on everything I see and hear, is that the Cavs wouldn't try to trade for the very reason we're talking about. Donovan Mitchell working, Darius Garland coming off an all-star season. Evan Mobley, I'm sure we'll discuss, but very promising. I just that they're in such a great position right now that you don't need to make another move unless it's at the trade deadline. And if you do, it would be for somebody a lot less, what's the word I'm looking for? Just a lot less kind of, taking over the locker room than a LeBron James would.
Yeah, obviously an overreaction for the Lakers. Awful start, but I always like to dream, Jeremy. Overreaction or on point?
Overreaction because, and also we don't have the assets to trade for him. We couldn't trade anything because our assets now we're using now. I don't know what we'd even do to spin that trade. However, I will throw a little fuel on your fire.
Come on.
Cuffs the legend. I don't know. Remember Cuffs, one of LeBron's buddies who predicted him going to LA and him coming back to Cleveland, had it before anybody else, period. Tweeted the other day, man, Bron really does fit perfectly with this Cavs team, wink emoji. So for whatever that means.
Look, I don't have
he did
sources.
tweet that.
I just want to say this. I don't have sources, but I, like Sam, observe things from the outside.
I thought you were saying you like Sam,
and
would have been really out of character.
And I take my role as a podcaster hype man very seriously, and I will if I will run down my street almost naked if LeBron is on this team this year. And I don't think
yet another reason to hope he doesn't get traded.
Why would it be tinkering with success to
right.
add one of the greatest players of all time with the greatest shooting guard that's ever suited up on the Cavs? And why? I don't think that's tinkering with anything.
I just don't think it's possible with the assets that we've already given up. Like the Lakers would want something in return for LeBron, and we're not going to give up Mobley. We're not going to give up Allen. We're not going to give up Donovan. We're not going to give up Garland. There's just nothing we can give up for him to even make a trade work. It had to be LeBron, literally forcing his way out of LA to make it happen.
All right. All right. Well, that does it for the greatest segment of all time, and that is not an overreaction. Overreaction or we're going to take a break. We're going to hear from our friends at Aligned Health Center and DraftKings. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about Week 3 slate and see if the Cavs can keep this win streak going. Stick around. Cavs on the break. We'll be right back. Ohio, listen, I have some great news for you. DrafKings Sportsbook is coming to the Buckeye State, and Press Play Podcast has sponsored with them to help you get the most bang for your buck. And it won't be long until you can bet on all your favorite sports from the comfort of your own home. To celebrate, all new customers will receive $200 in free bets when you sign up today using our promo code P3Cavs. That's capital P, the number 3, capital C, capital A, capital V, capital S, P3Cavs. Plus, 5 lucky customers will win a $100,000 free bet. You heard that right. $100,000 free bet. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you, right now, if you sign up for free, $200 in free bets just for signing up with our promo code, no deposit required. And you'll be entered to win a $100,000 free bet when you sign up. I just did it. It is super simple. It's easy. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today, wherever you get your apps on your phone. It is the best. You'll receive that $200 in your account the moment sports betting becomes legal in Ohio, looking like January 1st. You don't want to miss out on this incredible offer. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966, 21 years, ages, and older. You have to be physically present in Ohio. Eligibility restrictions apply. See terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regulatory license requirements. One entry per customer. $200 will be issued as 8 $25 free bets. No purchase necessary for sweepstakes. Void where prohibited. Ends the first day DraftKings is allowed to operate in Ohio. See terms at dkng.co/OH. Hey, this is Chase Smith, and I'm here to tell you about our wonderful longtime friends over at Aligned Health Center. Did you know Aligned Health Center is the first and only chiropractic biophysics clinic in Northern Ohio? There is no other chiropractic clinic in the area that does what Aligned Health Center does. Let me tell you all about them. And I should know, I just went to them last month and they were incredible. From the welcome staff to the technicians and the doctors, it was an incredible experience, and I know you're going to enjoy your time there. Chiropractic biophysics is a technique that actually reshapes the spine and restores it to its original correct position. At most chiropractors you go in, you just get an adjustment and you're left with that short-term relief, but it's not actually fixing the underlying structural issues. But at Aligned Health Center, they actually aim to correct the structural issues and provide long-term relief to their patients. I'm talking about back pain, neck pain, migraines, ADHD, digestive issues, sleep disturbance, whiplash, scoliosis, and knee pain. Yes, that's right. They can even help correct lifelong knee pain. And it gets better. They're opening a huge, brand new state-of-the-art facility in Westlake. It's going to look so nice. I saw the floor plans. It looks incredible. You're going to love it. And in addition to chiropractic biophysics, they also offer regenerative medicine, which is a way to help rebuild cartilage in various joints and help reduce pain in places like knees, shoulders, wrists, and even your lower back. You can check them out online at alignedhealthcenters.com. That's Aligned Health Centers with an S, alignedhealthcenters.com, or call at 440-385-7357. Again, that's 440-385-7357 to schedule your exam. We will put the website and the phone number in the show notes of this episode.
Looking for new insights on the Cleveland sports scene with a unique side of Cleveland sports history? Then you found the perfect podcast. I'm John Sable.
And I'm Scott Sable, and we're hosts of the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, a podcast about Cleveland sports, but not your typical podcast about the land's sports teams. Join us as we embark on a journey of sharing a unique and historical side of Cleveland sports history with the help of some former Cleveland sports stars and other historical figures.
All right here on the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
What's up, everyone? I'm Holly Wetzel.
And I'm Tyrus Powell.
And we are your hosts of The Orange is Oranger, a Cleveland Browns podcast on the Press Play Podcast Network. We give you all the dog pound coverage that you'll need to get you through the regular season, hopeful postseason, and I'd say off-season, Tyrus, but is there really ever an off-season for this team?
Thankfully for our podcast, Holly, there really never is when it comes to the Cleveland Browns. Don't miss our breakdown of each week's matchup, game recaps, and any and all news out of Berea to feed your Browns appetite. As we know, Holly, dogs gotta eat.
Yes, they do. So hit that subscribe button and never miss an episode of the Orange is Oranger Cleveland Browns podcast on the Press Play Podcast Network.
The R&R podcast going to be rocking and rolling with you because football season is underway. College, Ohio State, the Power Fives, the MAC, the Browns. Michael Regai, are you ready to rock and roll with some football?
Kenny, I've been ready. This is our time of year. This is what R&R is all about. We're going to be with you every week. Kenny just said it, Browns, NFL, Ohio State centric. So you got to stay with us all fall and winter long here on R&R.
That's right. The Regai and Rhoda podcast coming to you here on the Press Play Podcast Network. Subscribe now and don't miss a show.
Hey everybody, I'm Gary. And I'm Jason. Opening cards as a kid, no matter what was in the pack, you always had that stick of chewing gum. Well, it turns out Gary and I opened up a box of 86 Tops last year, and let me tell you, the chewing gum does not age well.
Join us on the Ball Card Show,
the sports podcast for the sports collector.
All right, we are back. Cavs on the Break NBA podcast. I'm with Sam Amico. I'm with Jeremy and Akron, and we're just having the best time. I think people are going to get sick of me keep waving the LeBron flag. Like at some point, people are going to turn if they haven't already on me.
I have.
And Cass, you have. It was it. It was good while it lasted, man. It was like 1.5 episodes. I will take it. Hey, here's what the Cavs have coming up in this week 3 slate here. They have a home game tonight. You're listening to this probably on a Wednesday. They host the Celtics at the Rockets on ESPN 7:30 in Cleveland Wednesday night, prime time. Hey, the whole world's going to be watching. The wide world leader in sports, Cavs and Celtics. Celtics looking to probably get that win back. They're looking to kind of, Cavs kind of showed up a little bit, and I'm sure they would love to take a game at the Rock and just kind of say, hey, no, we're still the big brother, whatever you want to say there. And then Friday, they begin a pretty big road trip before they head out west. They go to Detroit, the Little Caesars Arena, to play Cade Cunningham and the Pistons. Sunday, they have a back-to-back Sunday, Monday, playing at Crypto.com Arena. Get the Lakers on Sunday and the Clippers on Monday. That Monday game kind of starts week 4 slate there. Sam, what are the Cavs looking to get out of this week 3 slate here? I mean, I don't think I should have overreaction. They're never going to lose another game. It was right there and I missed it. But them doing so well last week kind of creates a little breathing room, huh?
I think so. And I think that, I think you'd like to kind of repeat with and beat Boston again, beat home. They're going to come in wildly determined because they're the defending Eastern Conference champions and you beat them on their floor. And, if you're the Cavs, to be able to beat them, I think they're looking to get Garland back this week. If not against Boston in the next game, what's that, Friday in Detroit. So, just win the games that you're supposed to win. You're supposed to beat Detroit, hopefully beat Boston. And, if you're the Cavs, you're hoping to be able to repeat that and show them that the first time wasn't a fluke. I don't think the first time was a fluke, but that's right. How people talk. You want to avoid that. So I think more than anything, they just really want to work back into what's already been working for them.
Sam, you going to the game?
Wednesday, I am not. That's the first one I'll miss, and probably one of only a handful I'll miss. I just had a commitment from a long time.
Gotcha. Jeremy, you going?
I'm not going tomorrow. I got basketball practice for Hunter, but I will be sad that I am not there. But yeah, I'm excited, man. And I think, what do they say? The formula for success in the NBA is win your home games, split your road games, right? So the Cavs want to get to a point where they win almost all their home games and win half their road games. Beat the teams you're supposed to on the road, beat almost everybody at home, and that's how you win 55 games in the NBA. So that's what I'm looking at, and I'm also looking. I think it is a statement game tomorrow, and I think Boston is going to come in and try to send a message that, look, we're still a big boys in the East. I think Darius Garland is going to play tomorrow. I know he practiced today. I know he's listed as questionable. They raised him from out to questionable. I think he's going to play, and I think it's going to be just like that. The opener with Toronto is sort of a playoff atmosphere. I think you're going to see a playoff atmosphere. It's going to be super loud at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. It's on national TV, like you said. Everybody's going to be watching. It's going to be fun. It's definitely going to be a fun game tomorrow night.
Jeremy, you know so much about sports. How do you know so much about all these sports? You're just like an expert in everything.
I've
never heard of that. Win all your home games and split your road games. Like, where do you?
Yeah.
Is there a book?
Yeah, that's always. You know who I learned that from? You want to be Kenny Rhoda when I was 12 years old. Our own Kenny Rhoda.
Man, shout the road man.
You got to tell Kenny that I told you that, but
gosh,
Kenny
I'm producing
was
their
the
show
one
now.
that,
I'll let him know.
Yeah, let him know that Kenny said that, and I literally probably was 12 or 13 years old. I used to listen to Roadman every night, and he's the one who talked about in the NBA. There's a formula for being a top team, and it's win almost all your home games and split on the road, and that's how you win 55 games.
Sam, we are lucky just to have him on this podcast.
We are. He's a fountain of information.
Just
Jeremy, do you follow hockey at all?
I don't. I wish I did, actually. Give me something else to do. I've actually tried to be a hockey fan.
I wish I did.
I've tried. Give me one more thing to do, but no. Yeah. It's some call me a fountain of information. Some call me a fountain of misinformation.
Ooh.
But either way,
well, they're losers.
Either way,
those guys are losers.
They're losers. What are we even talking about right now? This road trip. Now, last year, the Cavs West Coast trip kind of started this whole, hey, the Cavs are here. It was like almost like their coming out party last year when they did so well on the West Coast trip. Not the case now. People know who the Cavs are. People like they're not going to come up on anyone. But I still think, nonetheless, it's an important road trip for this team. It's an important road trip for the players. And it's always big when you play in LA. Sam, what do you think the Cavs are like looking to get out of this road trip they're getting ready to start here, man?
Victories. I mean, it's as simple as that because, you always hear NBA players a lot say the road gives us an opportunity to really kind of get away from things and really bond together. When you're at home and these things, your wife and kids, girlfriends, whatever, family, going on a West Coast swing, you've got no one but you and your teammates and your coaches, and really have an opportunity to kind of raise your level of play because it's, those trips aren't easy. A lot of time in the air, a lot of time in different cities, a lot of distractions, not to mention the fact that you're in enemy territory. And a lot of those teams are playing on the West Coast are good. So, if they can do if you remember last year, Chase, really that West Coast trip kind of really what started their turnaround. They went into Denver and beat Denver and really had a shot at beating the Lakers before the Lakers became an absolute disaster. So I think that these type of situations, you go out there and you get a couple wins on these West, really can set the tone for the season as we saw last year.
Jeremy, what are so in our last episode we predicted almost eerily LeVert getting a 40-point game at some point. It's gonna be some random game. LeVert's going to drop 40. We talked about that. We mentioned that we want to see Mobley get more involved, and all of a sudden he's having great games. So what are some predictions for this upcoming slate of games? Do you see a player's going to pop? Do you see maybe you see Mobley continuing to have some big games? What do you see happening over these next week or so?
I do, because it looks like they made a concerted effort to get him the ball on the block, and that's what he needs to do. Like I talked about, he looks like the baby draft thing when he's trying to get the ball out on the wing and drive inside. He doesn't look good there, but he looks really good when you get it to him on spots. And so yeah, you're going to, here's another one for you. They always say that your role players play better at home. So your D Wade, Cedi Osman, they play better at home. So when you're on the road, you need your stars to carry you. So you're going to need Darius Garland, you need Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, those guys to play really well on this road trip if you want to be successful. Let me touch on a little bit of what Sam said. Reason I think the Cavs have had some success on the road is because this group of players likes each other. These guys get along. If you go on a long road trip with a bunch of guys that you don't like, a bunch of prima donnas that don't get along, that's when you have problems because it's miserable. You miss your family, you miss everybody. But when you got a group of guys that you actually like, and I mean, it's obvious when you see the pictures from the locker room, the guys talking, these guys all like each other and like to spend time together and like to hang out. They're already, I guess, it's a cliche in sports that we're a family. I really believe these guys think they are. And I think that definitely helps teams feel more comfortable on the road. And I think that's going to help the Cavs on this upcoming road trip.
I got a prediction. You want to hear my prediction?
Let's go.
Darius Garland will have a triple-double.
On the road trip?
Yeah, but it won't be like a 25, 17, and 12. It'll be like 12, 13, and 14 in some order of fashion, in whatever category. Rebounds, steals, and rebounds, points, and assists. But it'll be like the lower, like 10 to 15 in all three of those categories. That's going to be my prediction.
Didn't he? I think he was his first one in San Antonio last year. I remember him getting his first one, and it was on the road, and it was on the West Coast. It might have been San Antonio, maybe Oklahoma City, one of those two cities over there. And the pure joy. Remember that when he got I'd never seen anything like it.
You like that prediction, Jeremy? You wish you had it.
I do like that prediction, and I think it could have come true. I'd say the rebounds would be the toughest part because we rebound so well in the interior, but who knows? Maybe he gets 10 steals in the game. But no, I do like the prediction, and I could see it happening. And I love Darius Garland too, and I like his game, and good for him. Gets back after this. Who's heard of a lacerated eyelid? Comes back off a freak injury, gets a triple-double in his first trip out west. I like it.
Sam, you have a prediction, or you just want to co-sign on mine?
My predictions aren't as specific as yours.
It's okay. You should have heard what I made Jeremy predict in our when we were hosting Orange is Orange. We would do what do we do? Like it was
bold predictions,
like
but it was
450 passing yards and 6 sacks or something. I would just go like
that's
out of control.
Yeah.
He'd get so mad at me because my bold prediction would be like 3 touchdown passes from Baker Mayfield. He'd smack the table. That's not bold.
I won 10. Yeah.
So it's okay. I won't make you do what
I'll have one. I have one for you.
Oh, okay.
Karis LeVert will have another 35-plus point game on the West Coast.
There we go.
Interesting.
Probably against the Lakers.
Well, how about this for bold prediction?
I got a bold prediction.
What's up?
Can I get my bold prediction?
Yeah.
My bold prediction is that the Cavs will move Karis LeVert to the bench and Dean Wade will stay in the starting lineup.
Ooh, you like that overreaction on point two, Jay. You really
I
like
do,
that
and I
one.
like that. I like that. And I actually, this is me being selfish because I like the idea because Karis does facilitate some. I like the idea of him facilitating with the second unit, keeping Dean Wade in with the first unit to spread the floor because you have 2 ball handlers in there with Mitchell and Garland.
Sneaky good on
D. And that Wade as well. And he plays hard. And so that's my bold prediction is the Cavs do an about face and Dean Wade stays in the starting lineup and Karis LeVert goes back to the bench.
Well, this isn't so much a bold prediction rather than just a common statement. Next week, John Sable's hosting the show, and it's going to be a better show. We just know that for sure because he
better or longer, which it'll be a longer.
I'll tell you this: it'll definitely be after we stop the show. It'll be longer after that.
Johnny, don't listen to him.
That's when John really likes to do his best.
40 minutes. At least 40 minutes after the show.
And I do not share those same thoughts. John, I could listen. You could put me to sleep. I could listen to you all night. I really could. Well, that does it for this episode of Cavs on the Break NBA podcast. Thank you all so much for downloading and listening. Shouts to the Press Play podcast and for making this possible. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Cavs on the Break. We always follow back. We always do. We always follow back. Shouts to DrafKings Sportsbook. Download the app, sign up and promo code P3Cavs to receive $200 in free betting when gambling becomes legal in January. Federal restrictions apply. And also shouts to our sponsor, Aligned Health Center. Love those people. If you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, knee pain, go check them out at alignedhealthcenters.com. You can follow Sam on Twitter at Amico Hoops. Get all of his works and writings at hoopswire.com. Follow them online at Wire Hoops. You can follow Jeremy at Jeremy and Akron. Guys, who wins the Junkyard Dog Award for this episode? I have an idea.
Got to go to Sam today. No, it's got to go to Sam.
No, dude, you're the one who's all these basketball nuggets of knowledge. It's got to be you, man.
No, it should be Kenny Rhoda.
You said you want to like hockey. That did it for me.
Kenny Rhoda wins it because he taught me everything I know.
Oh, well, I'm not giving it to Sam. Sam, you kept cutting in and out, man, so you definitely don't get it tonight. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I just had something in my throat.
It's all right. Jeremy, Junkyard Dog Award winner. Sam, final thoughts, my man?
Yeah, you've never once given me the Junkyard Dog, and it kind of hurts.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, that's true.
I wonder if someone keeps tabs.
I have a sheet. Jeremy, John. Jeremy, John. Jeremy, John.
I think last week I gave it to myself. Did I give it to myself last week?
You did. Yeah.
You tried to, but Sam took it back and gave it to me.
You've won twice in a row?
Of course.
I think it just means I just miss potting with you, man. That just must be what it is.
Probably it. I'm back, baby.
I'm back, baby.
I'm back.
You want to Mike Breen us tonight?
Mike Breen, take us out.
Congratulations, Cleveland. Your decades-long wait is finally over. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.